welcome in the today's lecture of the surgery. The today's lecture of the surgery is on the carcinoma of the stomach or the gastric carcinoma. Among all carcinomas in the body, especially of the carcinoma of the abdomen, carcinoma in the abdomen, the gastric carcinoma is one of the common carcinoma, or the stomach is one of the common site for the carcinoma or for the malignant tumor. So I say this gastric carcinoma, it's a common malignant tumor in the abdomen and the GIT which occurs in the stomach. The etiology, it includes the two factors, the predisposing factors and the risk factors are in the etiology. First, the predisposing factors. It has been seen that in majority of the cases, the carcinoma of the stomach, it starts in healthy stomach. But still, these are some other predisposing factors are the gastric polyps. The gastric polyp is the commonest or most commonest predisposing factors for the gastric carcinoma, for the origin of gastric carcinoma. Second, chronic gastric ulcers. So we have been seen that where in case of the peptic ulcers, while taking the peptic ulcers, in complications of peptic ulcers, I have told you the chronic gastric ulcers they tend to become a malignant. So it occurs as a complication of the chronic gastric ulcers as a malignancy, isn't it? And the third one, predisposing factors, is what atrophic gastritis. Atrophic gastritis is associated with pernicious anemia. Is also one of the predisposing factors for the origin of gastric carcinoma. And fourth, it has been seen that in many of the cases, the carcinoma of the stomach is common in the people having the blood group A. Blood group A, isn't it? So these four are the genetic predisposing factors. One is gastric polyp, second is chronic gastric ulcer, third is atrophic gastritis, and the fourth is blood group A. Apart from these predisposing factors, there are some of the risk factors are there. Which are these risk factors? This is I mentioned here. The two main risk factors are there. One is smoking. It has been seen that the chain smokers or heavy smokers, the gastric carcinoma is more common. It increases incidence of the gastric carcinoma, smoking. Second, in diet, highly processed food or salty food. This also increases the incidence of the gastric carcinoma. Nowadays, many of the people, as the change of the lifestyle, they are taking out highly processed food. Highly processed food, isn't it? And many of the spices, salty foods are there, which causing the irritation of the gastric mucosa, isn't it? Causing injury to the mucosa of the stomach, and it leads into the origin of the malignant tumor, that is gastric carcinoma, isn't it? If you take the raw food, boiled food, not highly processed food, it will be decrease or the lower the incidence of the gastric carcinoma. So these are the two etiological factors. One is the predisposing factors, which include these four factors, and second is risk factors, which include smoking and the diet. So that's why diet plays very important role in the gastric carcinoma. And already we have seen in previous lectures of the peptic ulcer, the diet also plays the important role in developing the peptic ulcer also. Remember. So these are the etiological factors. Then sites of the gastric carcinoma. The gastric carcinoma can occur at any site, but it occurs in some many sites more frequently occurs in the pyloric region. It is the commonest site. Why? Because either the highly processed diet or water together are in the peptic ulcer also the common site of the peptic ulcer is a pylorus of the stomach. So that's why in the pyloric region there is a more chance of getting gastric carcinoma. This is a common site. Second is lesser curvature. Why lesser curvature? As you have been seen in lesser curvature, so the chronic gastric ulcers, they are more common along with the lesser curvature, isn't it? At pyloric region, the polyp is more common. Gastric polyp is more common at the pyloric end. So this is the most commonest. Second commonest is a lesser curvature. And the third one, that can occur at other sites are there, which are rare, or you can say less common. Rather than the rare, say the less common. These are what? The greater curvature, fundus of the stomach, and the cardia, means cardiac end of the stomach. So you understood? So these are the sites are there. Most common is the pyloric region. So to understand the two things, one is etiological factors include the predisposing agent, these factors, and the sites of the gastric carcinoma. Next, the type of the gastric carcinoma. The gastric carcinoma is primarily or mainly divided into two types. One is the microscopic types and second is the macroscopic types. On the basis of the microscopic types, this classification is made on the basis of the cells from which the carcinoma or the malignant tumors gets originated. While macroscopic, according to the morphological changes after developing the carcinoma, isn't it? So first of all, microscopic types. Microscopic types means this classification is made on the basis of the cells from which the carcinoma originates. These are two types. One is a columnar cell adenocarcinoma and second is squamous cell carcinoma. Most commonest, you can say almost all cases are of the columnar cell adenocarcinoma. Because stomach is lined by the columnar epithelial cells. That's why it is columnar adenocarcinoma. In most of the cases, or you can say almost all the cases are there. Second, squamous cell carcinoma. It found in the some of the cases, very few cases, rare cases. And when it present, it's originated from the lower end of the esophagus and that continues as an extension of the carcinoma from the lower end of the esophagus to the cardiac end of the stomach or may extend further in the stomach there. So do you understand? So according to microscopic types, the first is columnar cell adenocarcinoma and second is a squamous cell, among which the columnar is the most common. The second classification, macroscopic types or macroscopic classification. The macroscopic classification of the gastric carcinoma is made on the basis of the structural change or you can say the morphological change which occurs grossly, isn't it? And these are of these types are there. Mainly the 5 types are. First, the ulcerative, second, proliferative, third, infiltrating, fourth, colloidal cancer, and the fifth one is here, the ulcer cancer. Ulcer cancer, isn't it? So first of all, you see, the first one is what? The ulcerative type of the cancer. It is the commonest type of the gastric carcinoma, where the lesion becomes more large, is in growing carcinoma. Margins are roll out margins are there, where wall becomes thick, wall of the stomach becomes the thick, isn't it? And it is of the what? It becomes thick, narrowing of the lumen, where it looks like or appears like the leather bag stomach. Second is a proliferative. It is the second commonest one there, where proliferation of the cell takes place. And there is an outgrowth of the carcinoma, like cauliflower, or sometimes you know the polypoid growth, isn't it? Due to proliferation of the cell, it may cause obstruction in the lumen of the stomach. The third type is what? Infiltrating type. Infiltrating type means a spreading one there, which infiltrates in the tissue. It may be either localized or the generalized. Localized or the generalized. Localized means what? Only in the region. The infiltration is only in the region where the carcinoma gets originated. Only small portion of the wall of the stomach gets affected. While second one is generalized infiltrating. Generalized infiltrating means what? It is where the extent of the growth of the carcinoma, which involves the whole wall of the stomach, causing the thickening of the wall. As I already said it, thickening of the wall sometimes may causes the narrowing of the lumen, and it really causes the it really causes the leather bag stomach, where the wall of the stomach, whole wall of the stomach becomes thick like leather, or like a cover of the leather bag. It's also called limitus plastica. Isn't it? So these two types are the infiltrating. Which one? Localized, and second is the generalized. In localized, whole wall of the stomach is affected. If whole wall becomes thick, it may narrow the lumen. Then colloidal. The colloidal cancer is also sometimes seen in many of the patients frequently there. And this cancer is very dangerous. Very dangerous. In point of view, spread of the cancer is there. So here what? This is a mucinous cancer where adenocarcinoma start into the mucous gland, and there is what? Collection of the mucus which forming the colloidal structure, which is lined by the epithelial cells, isn't it? Collection of the fluid, mucus fluid, isn't it? Then ulcer cancer. The ulcer cancer, it is a turning of the chronic gastric ulcer into the malignancy. Means already this presence of what? The chronic gastric ulcer. And this chronic gastric ulcer, it turns into malignancy. Then it is called as a ulcer cancer. Means the cancer originated from the ulcer. Do you understand? So these are the macroscopic types of the carcinoma, gastric carcinoma. Do you understand? Ulcerative, where ulceration takes place, margins are rolled out, isn't it? Here, proliferating, the growth may be fungating, cauliflower-like, or the polyp growth is there. Infiltrating, which infiltrate into the wall of the stomach, may be localized, only limited to the only small portion of the wall of the stomach. While generalized, it will be involved. In this case, there is involved almost whole wall of the stomach. Whole wall of the stomach. Then colloidal, where there is collection of the mucus fluid. Collection of the mucus fluid. And ulcer cancers originate from the chronic gastric ulcer, where chronic gastric ulcer turns into malignancy. Isn't it? So we will go next. This is type, isn't it? Then we will go for important aspect of the gastric carcinoma. That is what? The spread of the gastric carcinoma. The gastric carcinoma can be spread by these 4 ways. Number 1, direct spread. Second, lymphatic spread. Third, venous spread. And the fourth one is a transperitoneal. Transperitoneal. First of all, we see the direct spread. In the direct spread, where the carcinoma, it spread directly. From its lesion, from cancer cell or from lesion to the adjacent cells, nearer cells, you can say. Direct spread, without any route. First is by continuity, and second is by the contiguity. Continuity means what? If the carcinoma of the stomach, it arises from the mucous membrane, either the columnar or the squamous, that involves submucous layer, then the muscle layer, and then the serous layer. And by expansion, involving the wall of the stomach itself. This is called by continuation, means from one cell to another cell. While contiguity, it goes beyond the wall of the stomach and affecting or involving the other structures of the abdomen or in the peritoneal cavity. That is called as by contiguity. Do you understand? So this is direct spread. Without any medium, it directly passes from one cell to the another cell by involving that. Second, lymphatic spread. Remember, in lymphatic spread and venous spread, it is also called the blood spread. Here, the spread of the cancer or the carcinoma takes place either by embolism or by permeation. My lecture on the tumor or my lecture on the spread of the malignant tumors, I have explained it. If you get the time, you can go on my channel and watch how this gets spread. Isn't it? So here, by lymphatics and venous spread, the carcinoma of the stomach can be spread by 2 ways, either by embolism or by the permeation. First of all, check the lymphatics. In lymphatics, it will go either spread by the embolism or the by permeation. Means what? Where the cancerous cells may enter into the lymphatic vessel which is draining from the stomach, and this passes through this lymphatic vessel and lodge into the either the lymph nodes into which this vessel is draining or into the other organs are there, isn't it? And by permeation, by involving the wall of the lymphatic vessels. And here spread can be occurs by these three ways. One is around the pylorus, second along the lesser curvature, and third one is along the greater curvature. First of all, we see around the pylorus. It's a very commonest one spread because as already we have seen, the cancer is more common is where at the pyloric region, isn't it? And from here, there may spread by lymphatics either by subpyloric glands and suprapyloric glands. You will see in this figure, here in this figure. If the carcinoma is at this site where the pyloric region, the lymphatic vessels from pyloric drain into the either the subpyloric or the suprapyloric. Most commonly drain to the subpyloric. So if the cancer is here, so cancerous cells may enter into these lymphatic vessels. It drains into the subpyloric group of the lymph nodes, or either into the suprapyloric. This subpyloric most commonly, why I said, because most of the vessels they drain into here, and this lymph node is close to second part of the duodenum and the head of the pancreas, and the chances of the spread of the cancers to this lymph nodes and from lymph nodes to that of these regions are there, and maybe into the suprapyloric. Second, along with the lesser curvature, the lymphatic vessels from the lesser curvature. The second commonest site of the gastric carcinoma is which one? Lesser curvature. And if suppose the carcinoma is here, along with the lesser curvature, and from here it will be spread to first these lymph nodes. Which lymph nodes? These three lymph nodes. The first one, the paracardiac, this one, where around the cardiac end of the stomach. Second, here upper coronary glands, and second is lower coronary glands. So, and it may spread either by emboli or by the permeation. So it is second one, along with the lesser curvature. Then along with the greater curvature here. See here, greater curvature. Along with the greater curvature, the lymphatics from this one will be drained either into here where the pancreatico-splenic glands, and second is the inferior gastric. Here the cancer spread from the stomach, wall of the stomach to where? First the pancreatico-splenic and the inferior gastric. So do you got? So by these three ways around the pylorus, along with the lesser curvature and along with the greater curvature, the gastric carcinoma can be spread through the lymphatics. And from these lymphatics all they drain into the celiac trunk or celiac lymph nodes, and from there they will be reaches to the different parts of the body. Do you understand? This is lymphatic spread. Then the venous spread. In the venous spread, it is also called the blood spread or spread by the blood. In the venous spread, here also the spread can occur as emboli or by the permeation, but most commonly occurs as emboli there. Here, the venous blood or the veins from the stomach will be drained into or are draining into the portal vein. Portal vein, some directly or some through the hepatic vein. That's why by these routes the carcinoma most commonly first spread to the liver, and from there to the lung, and then to the other parts. So do you got? If the spread through the blood or through the venous spread, the carcinoma first will be spread to the liver. Metastasis is seen into the liver, and then to the lung, and then to the brain or other parts of the body. Do you understand? Now the fourth one spread, transperitoneal. The spread may occur transperitoneal, means what? Within the peritoneum, from the stomach to the other parts of the abdomen or the peritoneal cavity, where most commonly it is spread to the omentum. First to the omentum, second to the pelvic floor, and third to the ovaries. Kuchenberg carcinoma. Kuchenberg carcinoma is spreading to the ovary, or it's called the ovarian carcinoma, isn't it? So do you understand last one, transperitoneal? Transperitoneal means across the peritoneum, the carcinoma spread from the where? In the abdomen, from the stomach to the other parts. The most commonest part or structure to spread is omentum. Second, the pelvic floor, and the third one is the ovaries. The ovaries. Do you understand? So this is a spread of the gastric carcinoma. So watch this lecture carefully. For today's lectures, only this much is there. In next lecture, our second part of the gastric carcinoma, we will see the clinical features in detail. We will discuss about the investigations and the treatment of the gastric carcinoma.